All right. Welcome back to I Am Sure Sports. I am your host, Mannings Man. Hope everybody is doing well. Hope everybody is doing fine. Again, it is the day that the Lord has made, so let us rejoice and be glad in it. We continually give thanks to the Most High God for the breath in our lungs. I will always tell people, um, we continue to walk in humility because apart from Him, we are nothing. We must admit that as rich as we are, educated as we are, strong as we are, there is a greater power, the one who gives life to mankind. And without him, there's really no success. So we strive every day in our daily lives to live in honor to him and to serve other people. Because what good it is if we say we love a God who we cannot see and then hate our brothers who we can see. So while we have different levels of relationship, our heart desire is to really love all people with the love of the Most High God. That means we live a good life by doing good in every way we can. I want to encourage you not to give up. Keep on believing in yourself, keep on fighting, keep on trusting, keep on doing what is right because the benefits thereof are great. Remember this, it's just a life principle. We always reap what we sow. We reap later than we sow, and we reap more than we sow. I know in my own lifetime, I will not reap all the benefits of the good stuff I've done, but generations to come, many will benefit from the fruit of my labor today. So I continue to do that. All right, want to get into the content, but I want you to help me. I want you to help me with doing three simple things, right? One is to like the video, share the video, and subscribe to I Am Sure Sports. All right. I want to talk to you about something that has gone under the radar in Jamaica's football since the beginning of the JPL season. It is Mount Pleasant, and many people look at the Mount Pleasant play. They look at the investment in terms of player purchases in transfer. They talk about the salary structure at Mount Pleasant, and all of those are good and big things. They talk about even academy players coming into the senior team. When you look at, for example, Nolan and Earl Dennis in the under 17 and Owen Jump. They had Marco Dean in the U15. So they have players in the youth national programs. They're under 10s and they're under 8s, they're under 13, do well. They also have the Mount Pleasant juniors who are like the second team that plays in the tier 2 that is doing well. And then spread out across the league, there are so many Mount Pleasant players who have come through their academy that ply their trades both in the tier 2 and also in Premier Leagues outside of the club Mount Pleasant, which is good. But there's a bigger thing, a major thing that many people have not paid much attention to. And I want to speak about this because it's a kind of innovative thinking we need in the football, the change that we need in the football, and the kind of trajectory we need to take with the football so it can become a global business industry here in Jamaica that impacts players and all other stakeholders in the football. So if you notice on the Mount Pleasant kits, especially the kits of the coaches, they have GIS on it, and many people have not like stopped to look and try to figure out what is G as in goal, I as in uh, give me a word that starts with I. Can you believe it? Ill. And S as in snake. GIS, not JIS as in Jamaica Information Service, but GIS, which is the Global Institute of Sports. The Global Institute of Sports is a, a, a place where you can study sports online at unique venues or unique stadium venues across the globe. All right. And so they have undergrad program, they have postgrad programs all across, spread out all across the globe. Right. Major things. So many people, like I said, have not really done it. You listen to one of the advisors there, or the chief football development officer in CONCACAF is one we know very well. His name is Jason Roberts, and he says, Jason Roberts, says, it is clear that the Global Institute of Sports is dedicated to partnership with, he says, dedicated to partnership with industry through which it facilitates learning, networking and career pathways for the next generation of sports leaders. All right. You have Maria Hasler, who is at Arsenal, who is also part of this, or who have gone there. And she says, studying with GIS inspired me and set me up perfectly for my dream career in sports. I knew I knew that the networking options that GIS would provide me would be like no other. And she is the senior commercial rights manager at Arsenal Football Club. And they have campuses all over. They have campuses in England. So let me just give you some more details on it. And I'm going to get into why I'm sharing this with you, because it's very, 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 it's a big move. And many times, like, these are the things that are not seen, they are not spoken of, they are not discussed, and I'm going to show you, right? So it allows you to study online at unique stadium venues across the globe. All right, it is ranked in the prestigious Sports Business magazine top 3 online courses in the world. All right, they have 50 plus sports industry partners, including the Premier League, the FA, and more. All right, and a rival global network of mentors and guest speakers from the world of sport. All right, they have a good success rate as well. They are in Brussels, London, Miami, Dubai, Toronto, Melbourne, and of course they are in Jamaica at Mount Pleasant. Now this is so critical, because what happened is it allows, for example, for a Mount Pleasant, and I think, like, I would love, like Peter Gould need to, like, this kind of visionary thinking is something that he needs to get a lot of applause and for, because what it allows is, from a very early age, you're able to create a profile for players, including their statistical data in terms of their performances, from like under 10 all the way up while they are in the academy. And this information is viewed and shared right across all of these different places. So the people in Melbourne and Miami and Toronto and everyone can now analyze the data and come to conclusions. Just imagine how game changing this could be for Jamaica if more people get involved through Mount Pleasant, right? Where when you have a player now, he is being viewed by people outside of Jamaica, and they can look at the data and the analysis, and you can have conversation with them in this kind of setting. Where you're learning, you're doing studies in different fields and different areas, where you can get, like I say, a degree, or you can get your master's and all of that. And because sport is also education, football is education. It's not just to go on the pitch and play, but it's the ability to have all the resources, especially from a player's personal data, and being able to track what the player did at 10, at 12, at 15, at 17. All of that information is so critical. Have they increase in pace, and how much have they improve tactically and technically over a certain period of time. And again, this is being viewed all over the world by people who are able to give you input, and you're able to dialogue with them. And I think many people have not even reached out, and many people are aware of it, and many have not even reached out to partner. I think every club in Jamaica should engage one of their key staff in a program, enroll them in a program like this. But Mount Pleasant is implementing this at the Mount Pleasant Academy. That's so important, right? As they begin to spread their wings. And if you listen to people like Peter Gould, while there is this need to win Premier League and Champions Cup, he always defer to the most important part of his work in Jamaica, which is the kids in the academy. And when I say Peter Gould, I also want to mention his lovely wife, Amanda, because they are the visionaries, they are the pioneer behind this. All right, so I think it is something that has been missed by many in Jamaica. I think the federation even need to come on board, because they may have persons in the federation that they want to improve in the area of management and technical skills and ability, right? Where they can now become fully fledged in teaching courses across Jamaica, equipment management. You understand? Physiotherapy, all of these things. And you are able to engage and receiving and going through what are the global standards. I'm telling you, this is big time. And I'm hoping that this could be latched on by the greater. And many are saying that, how come we never hear about this? It is there. The information is there. So talk to them and find out more about it. All right. Listen, the game in Montego Bay, just a quick overview. I think this goes to show again that Western Jamaica loves their football. You can see by the turnout at the Catherine Hall Stadium for a Tier 3 friendly game against one of the teams that we play often, the kind of support. And many people believe that it never really was advertised enough down on the Western Belt, and it still had a good support. It means that there is a place in Jamaica to watch the local players play. I remember even Whitmore would play games at Noranda Backside Company, and just they would stay at Melia or the Bracco Hotel and then go into the communities. I think there's a role for that kind of a culture to be again be reignited, where the domestic based players have regular opportunities to play games across the different areas in Jamaica. Now, I understand that there's a limitation on the stadiums and the facilities, which is one of the setbacks in all of this. But if we can find ways of doing it, I think it will just help to increase the local fan base, right? And this is, let me just say this is not ever suggesting that somehow because you're part of a domestic base squad, when there's an official game, all of these players are going to be there. But it is one way of helping to develop the players. It is also good for the JPL, and it is community engagement. And I believe that out of even this game, the next time Jamaica plays a home game, then you're going to get some of those people coming out because they want football. The people want football all across Jamaica. All right. So I had to speak about that. Listen, I think just on an EPL level, I'm going to again come back to my Arsenal fans. Don't be delusional. All right. See, Martinelli's out, and I'm telling you this. William Saliba next summer goes to Real Madrid. William Saliba next summer goes to Real Madrid because this year it is obvious Arsenal not winning the Champions League, and it would take a complete and utterly improbable battle job by the current league leaders, Liverpool, for Arsenal to have a whisker of an opportunity. In fact, I believe at the rate that Arsenal is going, if they are not careful, they could finish fourth this very season. So the ball is in Liverpool's court. Liverpool is not supposed to lose the Premier League title. And William Saliba is not going to stay. So let me just put it out there to Arsenal fans. Mikel Arteta blundered. In the summer, Mikel Arteta, as the coach, should have gotten a forward at Arsenal. You cannot tell, and I'll say it again, you cannot tell Benjamin Sesko that he cannot be guaranteed a starting position, and you are basing that based on Kai Havertz's season the year before, boss. That's wrong. So the player re-signed. There's no guarantee that you're going to get him again in the summer. None whatsoever. None. It's going to be very difficult for you to move anybody out of Arsenal. Because ain't nobody going to want to buy the Trossards or the Martinelli or the Gabriel Jesus. There's no money to be made, really. Saliba and not even Odegaard. I don't think anybody's going to pay more than 50,000 for Odegaard or less. The players that have the highest resale value at Arsenal right now are William Saliba, and the other person is Bukayo Saka. That is it. You will never get back what you spent on Declan Rice. So do I see squad improvement? I don't see Arteta. Arteta lives in a dream world. The truth is he has never won anything. And has he improved Arsenal? Yes, he has. Should he be given credit? Yes, he should be. And I started out supporting Mikel Arteta. But I think at some point you have to do your own thing. You have not mastered the art of playing without a central striker. You have never proven yourself to be successful doing it. You go back and tell me that last year you scored how many goals? How many of those goals were scored by a central striker? He was not a top 5 scorer last year. It means that even with all of those goals, you have to see it this way. Imagine if you had somebody else coming in. All right? What would have been the case? All right? The final thing I want to speak about is tomorrow is a very, very big day. The Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes. My former Giant is over there in Philadelphia. Shaquan Barkley. So it will be interesting. But you know me, when it gets to the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes, he's not going to lose, man. He's not going to lose. I believe again that this guy is going to be one of the greatest to ever play the game. Greatest quarterbacks. And then finally, let me tell you a little bit about my New York Knicks, because I think the New York Knicks are going to suffer the same fate like Arsenal. Mitchell Robinson should have been sent out of the Knicks with some other pieces. They sent Sims away. They have at least 4 other pieces and picks that they could have sent to get somebody else to help Karl Anthony Towns. A big. New York Knicks needs a big to compete. There are only 3 players that are really untouchable. Anybody else you could have moved to get a good piece. The 3 are Karl Anthony Towns, Josh Hart, and Brunson. Anybody else you could have moved. OG could have been moved. Achua could have been moved. They could have been moved. Bridges could have been moved. Payne could have been moved. All of those players can go, except for those 3, and get a next piece. If you don't do that, the most you'll go is the Eastern Conference Final and lose to a better Boston or Cavaliers. So if you want to know, the NBA is coming to the East. This NBA title is in the East. Ain't nobody in the West good enough to beat Boston, Cleveland, or the Knicks. Early prediction by management. Yeah. Also I want to speak to you about something. My brothers, my sisters, my friends, my Jamaicans, finally. A social matter. Because this is important. Recently, they put out the stats for the crime. Like per 100. Do you know that Jamaica has the highest percent? In fact, in the top 10 nations in the world, there are like 8 Caribbean nations, including St. Vincent, St. Kitts, Jamaica. So it's per 100 people, meaning how many people are murdered. The USA is like 40 a dinner. While overall as a nation, they have more people who die from murder, but they have a larger population. So you have to understand this stuff. Jamaica has a smaller population, but per 100, we have more people that die in Jamaica than in the USA. The place where guns are sold, where people can buy gun bars. Jamaica are number 1 in the world at 50.4%, brother. Can you imagine that? Jamaica number 1 tops the world in terms of crime. We can do better. We can do better as a people. We can do better. And I don't know what the young youths are looking at. Don't you see like the police them now playing? If your name is out there, the next thing is that you'll be sent to an early grave. That is it. That's what's happening. So parents, You have to encourage your youths to stay away from certain activities. The final thing I want to talk about. You see, this football in Jamaica needs some young people, needs some young, bright minds who are willing to bring innovative ideas, free of all conflict and corruption, ready to serve your nation, passionate about the game of football and the lives of our young people. The JFF has been doing a whole lot better. If you look at what they were 4 years ago to now, you'd have seen much improvement from finances to policies, procedures, coaching, teams, preparation, all that. Lots of improvement. And so I'm not here to bash them. But too many of our young people have stayed out of the football. Too many of our intelligent minds have stayed out. I'm happy to see people like Kerry James but in with the U17 working first time on it and understand that he's doing a great job. Kerry James. He, as a parent liaison officer with the U17. I say Avery was hired in marketing. I say Tanya Lee being hired as a global ambassador, right? Simon Preston, media. Stephen Wilson, who is now, he does a lot of the logistics and stuff. So we see that. But this is the kind of thing that needs to happen. Not just at the JFF level, but at the parish level. I think there needs to be a shifting. You know, parish football is operated, and a lot of you out there have the expertise, the knowledge, the wisdom to change some of the things that continues to plague our football. I want to encourage, and I'm talking about Premier League, Tier 2, schoolboy football, everything. If we ever join forces and work together, every person in the footballing industry, every Premier League team, that there can be collaboration with schoolboy football and the professional football, quote unquote, in Jamaica. If ISA and the GFF works together, if the parishes coordinate, if the academy system that is in Jamaica, a growing industry, begin to partner, if the Social Development Commission and the Social Development Fund and the Ministry of Sports and everybody sit around the table, things can improve. If the diaspora is integrated in subcommittees to drive this, and I'm talking about because some diaspora people are going to cause problem, just like how some local people cause problem. We need people who have a clear vision, who are in it, because they don't want anything back out. They don't want a son or a daughter in the program. They don't want them cousin in the program. They're doing this because they want to see lives change through the sport of football, and they want to see Jamaica football reach to a pinnacle that is insurmountable. Heights that we have never gone to. And so some of us need to throw out our ego. We need to cool and be calm. We have to get along. And I always tell people this. Every person who is given to football can contribute something to football. So I'll tell you this, I'm going to say it again. Imagine if Craig Butler and Rudolph Speed were coordinating. Say like Craig Butler, who is able to have the connections wherever, whether you believe it or not, to move players out of Jamaica. Rudolph Speed, who developed so many young people. Mount Pleasant, to have an academy that can pump resources. Imagine if there was collaboration, what that would look like. Harbourview, who have expertise. Portmore United, who have the kind of structure because of the Horace Reed and these guys in the football. Imagine if there was collaboration at that level. Look at what Yannick and the Mobile United are doing. Imagine when Arville Powell was also there. Imagine if there was this oneness, this unity, that the egos would be put aside. I'm telling you, the one thing that is destroying Jamaica football at this moment is not players, is not the conditions of the field, it is not coaches, It's not managers. It is egos. And until we can put aside our egos and walk in unity, because everybody I try scrape. Too many people in the football are trying to get out of the barrel and leave everybody else in there. Let's not be crabs in a barrel, but let us be water in the barrel. That means the essence of us remains every time a bucket is taken out of that barrel. It is we and not me. When we begin to see that, the football will get to heights like never before. And people will be shocked to see how Jamaica qualify for World Cup after World Cup. Put aside your ego and let us come together. Because a kingdom divided by itself cannot stand. And what you try to do to one next person, trust me, it's going to happen to you. Put the ego aside. Let's come together. That is what the football needs more than anything else. People, hit the like button, subscribe and share. Leave your comment in the comment section. I am Management. This is I Am Sure Sports. And I'm going to tell you what I always tell when I get to this point. I am over and out of here.